Westfield Memorial Hospital provides high-quality health care to residents of Western New York, offering patients the most sophisticated medical advancements while keeping the ease and familiarity of a community hospital. Support for Chautauqua Sunrise has been provided by WRFA 107.9 FM, Jamestown's public radio station, streaming online 24/7 at WRFALP.com. Low power to the people. Meter's Restaurant, a family tradition for over 50 years in downtown Ripley, is a proud supporter of Chautauqua Sunrise. Meter's provides all-day dining, banquet services, and custom catering, specializing in pie. Funding for Chautauqua Sunrise is provided in part by the Chautauqua County Industrial Development Agency, with offices in Jamestown and Dunkirk, helping businesses to prosper throughout Chautauqua County. From supporting people with disabilities to enjoy great lives to providing health care services that are available to anyone, the Resource Center has been improving our county for more than 60 years. Learn more about how the Resource Center makes a positive difference in people's lives.
Is getting vaccinated on your to-do list? We can help you check it off because we make getting vaccinated easy. You've got this because we've got you. To learn more, visit yougotthis.usaging.org.
From the Access Chautauqua Studios in Mayville, it's Chautauqua Sunrise. Chautauqua Sunrise is hosted by Doc Hamels and supported by the award-winning volunteers at Access Chautauqua. We are here to share local news, colorful interviews, and events of interest to everyone. Chautauqua Sunrise is broadcast live Saturday mornings each week from 9 to 10 a.m. Send events via email or call us live. Check us out on YouTube and Facebook. And now, from the Access Chautauqua Studios, it's Chautauqua Sunrise.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Doc Hamels, and welcome to Chautauqua Sunrise. Hope you're doing well. Little frosty out there this morning. It was in like 41 degrees. How about your place, Randy? How cold was it? Do you know? No. You don't mind the cold. I don't mind the cold. I just don't like being cold. So I always look like an Eskimo walking Brody out in the morning. I got like 10 layers of stuff. But boy, it was windy this week, wasn't it? Yikes. It was really keeping us up the other night, just banging everything around. And I try to anchor everything, but there's always something that comes loose. Well, I hope you're doing well, everyone, and that you got through the Halloween season and all the little kitties are hopefully de-sugarizing. My grandkids, they got quite a haul this year. We saw a picture of it, and it looked like a candy store. It was incredible. So anyways, I want to say good afternoon to our listeners in the Ukraine and anywhere else in Europe. Natalia, as always, we're thinking of you and all your friends over there in Ukraine and hope you're being safe. Good afternoon to our friends in Kenya, if you're watching, James and company over there. And of course, anywhere you are in the world, anywhere across the United States, we're happy that you could join us today. Let's see here. Also, I want to say good afternoon to my listeners on WRFA 107.9, Low Power to the People. Tuesdays at 1 o'clock. If you're driving through Jamestown, tune in to 107.9 and you can have a listen because they are so gracious to rebroadcast. Did I just say crass? Broadcast our... I try not to be crass. Our broadcast at 1 o'clock. And I don't know what they do to us. They make it sound really super cool. I mean, it's like this velvety sound. Well, thank you. Okay, so anyways, throughout the show, if you have a question or a comment, you want to announce a fundraiser, that type of thing, give us a call at 716. See how magically that pops up? 753-5225, and we'll be happy to get you on the show. And if you're shy, as I always say, whoever answers the phone, I guess it's Jeff today. We're on a skeleton crew. They'll write it down and we'll announce it for you. I have some announcements I'll share with you shortly. All right. I've been giving you guys reminders about breast cancer awareness, so we're moving on to other things. We've talked about ticks. We've talked about being aware of the grape season and the harvest. Now, in November, hunting season, Randy. Yeah, the deer are on the move. Last night we were out towards Clymer, and holy cow, they were moving every which way. So please, number one, be careful of the deer because they're definitely in rut right now. And number two, it's hunting season, so we have people parked along the sides of the roads. We have people coming in and out of the woods and things like that. And it's not a problem. It's just be aware of it. Just be careful. All right. And if you are hunting out there, be safe. Let's see what else we got going on here. Tuesday. What's going on Tuesday, Randy? Oh,
I don't want
that's going to be a day of infamy, as Roosevelt once said. So all I can tell you is vote. Vote your conscience. I don't talk politics here, as you all know, and I'm not going to start today, but it's your opportunity. I mean, there are countries that would love to have the ability to vote and express themselves freely as we do. Sometimes it works against us, sometimes it works for us, but anyways, just get out there and vote. And hopefully when it's all over, we all can settle back down and agree to disagree and just have a educated discussion on whatever it is we're talking about. All right, Jeff, here we go. Every year I do this backwards, so I'll try. Last year he had to remind me, and the year before. Tonight, when we go to bed, it's daylight savings time. Let's see if I get it right, Jeff. We fall back. Did I get it? Yeah. Thank you. Last year I had us falling forward and falling back. Yeah, okay, so turn your clock back. So if it's midnight, turn it to 11 and so forth, and you get a whole hour of sleep. It's way cool. And this morning I got up and I forgot what time it was. Brody usually gets me up, but I have to get up a little earlier because of the show. But we were out there about 6:30, 6:40, and it was pitch dark. And I started thinking about today's show, and I was thinking about whatever. And about a month ago, 2 months ago, you get up at 6:30, it's still kind of daylight. And now the days are getting shorter and shorter and shorter and darker. You got the holidays coming, you got stressors coming, you're sitting at home doing nothing sometimes, you're alone sometimes you're worried about, do we have enough money to do this or that? This is a tough time of year for a lot of people, and we're going to be talking about stressors, we're going to be talking about mental health, and we're going to be talking about some programs that may very much help you, someone you know, or your family, because we're talking about mental health in rural America today. So please stay tuned. All right, I have some public service announcements, and then we're going to get to my guest. So Ray Jeff, here we go. Slide 15. There is going to be an online raffle to benefit the Service Learning Grants program at the Northern Chautauqua Community Foundation. It's a winter fun package. If you like to ski, the first package you could win is two any-day lift passes, depends on how you read that, at Peak and Peak, plus a $20 gas card to get there, 2 Northern Chautauqua Community Foundation mugs, 2 hot chocolate mixes, and 2 pairs of hand warmers. All right, that's assuming we have snow. So that's one package. Or you could win the Family Fun Package. It's 4 any-day passes to Splash Lagoon. If you haven't been there, it's really cool. Plus a $20 gas card to get there, snacks for the ride, a large tote to carry everything you need for a day at the Splash Lagoon Park. All right. So you can go to their online website for Northern Chautauqua Community Foundation, and you can enter right there. You don't have to do anything else. Or you can go to Applebee's and their pancake breakfast, which is going to be held next Saturday. I believe it's from 8 to 10, something like this. And you can enter there. So they're having a pancake breakfast at Applebee's next week up in Fredonia, Dunkirk area, or you can go online and enter that way. Speaking of fundraisers, here's the next one. This is near and dear to my heart. It's at the Ripley Public Library. This is way fun. This is an online auction, and it's, I forgot the exact website you go to. It's Owl something or other, but right there it's, Bidding Owl. Okay, there it is, biddingowl.com, and you just look up the Ripley Library auction. So biddingowl.com, and you put some information in there, and you get to bid on all kinds of crazy things they got there. I've won some really fun things. It starts today, and oh, I forgot to mention there's a disclaimer. Don't tell my wife. And it ends the 16th. No, seriously, we have lots of fun with it because she'll say, "Well, where are we on this item?" And I go, "Well, I'm willing to go $2 more." So you get to bid online, and you get to see people's first names. Like, oh my God, Ginger just outbid me by $2. Well, I'll get Ginger, and we go back and forth. They have lots of fun. And of course, it's all going for a good cause of helping raise monies for our local library in our case. Okay, so online fundraiser for the Ripley Library starting today. I guess I'll be probably going home and get started. All right, next. All right, we're going to take you to Jamestown. All right, and this guy I saw on TV, I'm not exactly sure how this all works out, but Puddle's Pity Party. This guy sings like opera. I mean, I'm not sure. I just read these things, but I did see him on The Voice or something like that. The 7-foot sad clown whose golden voice is comparable to rock legends like Tom Jones and Freddie Mercury. Now think about those. Tom Jones and Freddie Mercury. Holy cow, that's quite a range. My voice is like somewhere in between. Has amassed nearly 900,000 YouTube subscribers. Well, that's only, 892 more than, or 98 that I've got, subscribers, and performs sold-out shows all over the globe, including the Kennedy Center in D.C., San Francisco's Palace of Fine Arts, London Soho Theater, and a residency at Caesars Palace in Las Vegas. Heavy hitter. All right. Neil Gaiman recently featured Puddles as guest performer in a specially curated gala for the Art of Elysium in Los Angeles. In 2022, Puddles performed as a duet with the iconic Eric Idle in Homeward Bound, a Grammy salute to the songs of Paul Simon, filmed for CBS, and was a surprise guest on season 4 finale of ABC's The Conners. So this guy is a real deal, guys. All right, so what's going on here? I got to get the dates here for you. Hang on. All right, so the prices are $32.50 to $46.50, and of course they have the VIP type greet and meet sales. Oh, they're closed already. Okay, so you know what, Jeff? I don't see the date for this performance. All right, my research team is working on the actual date. So you can call for tickets at 484-7070, or you can go to the box office at the Reg Lene, and we will let you know exactly what date that is. Sometimes things get chopped off as we're getting these things. All right. So also coming up, we'll get back to you on Puddle's Pity Party. Say that 10 times fast. There's going to be some movie. Okay, we got it. Friday, November 8th, so that's next week at 7 p.m. So get your tickets now. $32.50 to $46.50, and the VIP meet and greet is all closed out. So I just got to get regular seating. So November 8th at 7 p.m. at the Reg Lene. All right, let's go on to the next slide, Jeff. Thank you for doing that. Some movies. Between the Temples. Okay, this is going to be this Wednesday, 7 p.m. and 8:51 p.m. You buy your tickets are $8. Again, $10 admission on $10 in person, or $8. Wait a minute, $8 at the admission at the box office, or $10 admission online. I guess it costs a little bit more because you got to go through a service. A cantor in a crisis of faith finds his world turned upside down when his grade school teacher re-enters his life as his new life adult bat mitzvah student. It's rated R. It's 111 minutes. Admission requirements subject to change. I don't know what that means. Buy tickets online, purchase at the door, call 484-7070 once again. And this is being supported by the Reg Lene Center for the Arts and the New York State Council on the Arts and the Office of the Governor and New York State Legislature. So this must be something special, okay? So this is called Between the Temples. All right. 19, Jeff. Join the United Way for an evening of fun, food, raffles, and friendly competition on Friday, November 15th as the agency holds its second annual curling tournament at Northwest Arena in Jamestown. When I was growing up, Saturday afternoons, there was like 3 channels of TV out of Buffalo, and I forgot what channel it was, but all you could watch was Canadian curling. So I can tell you almost everything you want about curling. This fun and casual total points tournament will benefit the United Ways of Chautauqua County 2024 fundraising campaign, which is now underway and countywide for the first time ever. If you missed last week's show, we talked about the United Ways, and we had our guests talking about all the wonderful programs that they support. So what do you got to do? Registration for the tournament is now open with the ability to sign up as either an individual or team of 6. The tournament will run from 5:30 to 8 p.m. and will feature a happy hour mixer with a cash bar as well as Learn to Curl session prior to the competition, which I recommend. You can register by texting Holy Mackerel, UW Curling, okay, all one word, to 41444. Okay, you can text UW Curling, all one word, to 41444. Or you can call Nick Dean at 483-1561. 483-1561. You do not have to be Canadian. All right. Northwest Arena's backyard curling takes place on the ice, though no special equipment or skates are required. Participants are required to wear sneakers or gym shoes, I'm not sure what the difference are, and are encouraged to dress appropriately for a colder environment. Backyard curling is a low-contact activity that is both social and engaging. It's the perfect opportunity to meet new people or to use as a team-building activity with your staff or coworkers. Whether you're a seasoned curler or just curious about the game, this annual curling tournament is a fantastic opportunity to try something new while supporting a great cause. Last year's inaugural curling tournament was spearheaded and organized by the United Ways 2023 campaign chairs Rex and Michelle McCrae. Building on the success of last year's event, Rex is again coordinating the tournament. The popularity of backyard curling at Northwest Arena keeps growing, and they're excited. All right, the deadline for signing up is November 8th. The number there again, 483-1561. All right.
Yeah, Channel 11 Hamilton had the curling.
Oh, was it?
Channel 11 Hamilton.
Okay, out of Hamilton. Oh, yeah. So I think that concludes everything. So we are going to take a little breather here. We've got an announcement for you, so stay tuned.
Early voting for this fall's general election in Chautauqua County runs from October 26th through November 3rd.
You can vote at any of our 4 locations: Chautauqua County Fairgrounds, Chautauqua Mall, Robert H. Jackson Center, or new this year, the Carlson Community Center at Lakeside Park in Mayville.
Visit votechautauqua.com for locations and times. Remember, once you vote early, you can't vote again on Election Day.
We will be open at our traditional 48 poll sites across the county on Election Day from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m.
So I'm told that tomorrow is the last day for early voting. And then, of course, Tuesday, the polls open, I don't even know, 6 in the morning to 9 at night or something crazy like that. So for all those that work at the polls, thank you. It's a long day. And I know you might say, well, they open at 6. Yeah, but they're usually there at 4:30, 5 o'clock, getting all the machines set up. And just as an aside, my Rotary Club, we do a run where we go to 6 locations in Chautauqua County, plus the Westfield Kiwanis, and we go and pick up the computer chip and tape and stuff like this, and then they bring the actual ballots after we go to Mayville. And so it's all a 2-step process of getting all the ballots to the election center there. We take them from the polling center, but we take them to the Board of Elections. So I'm not talking to myself. I was talking to my engineer in my ear. All right. All right. So let's get to my guests who are anxiously willing and ready to talk with all of us. So I want to welcome back to the show Jeff Winton, who is the co-founder of Rural Minds, and we'll get to that here. And you have with you.
Yes, a very special guest. It's a pleasure to be back here, Doc. We certainly are grateful for the opportunity to have Rural Minds continue to deliver our message to your viewers. And I'm especially pleased today to have with me Christina Marsh, who represents the New York FarmNet. Christina is a valued partner of Rural Minds here in New York State, and provides an invaluable service to many farm families and other people that are involved in agriculture here in the state. And so with that, I'd like to introduce Christina. She's one of the family counselors at New York FarmNet, and she's going to tell you a bit about the organization and the services that they provide to people right here in Chautauqua County and across New York State, from the North Country to the end of Long Island.
But before we get too deep, I want to welcome you, and we're going to get to you in just a moment. Okay? I want to just backtrack just a little bit. I mentioned that you're the founder of Rural Minds.
Yes.
All right. So elevator speech. Rural Minds, for those that are just listening for the first time or second time.
Rural Minds is the only nonprofit organization in America that is advocating for the 46 million people that live in rural America who are facing mental health challenges. So there are many other mental health organizations in this country that have been doing tremendous work for many, many years. And we're only 3 years old. We just celebrated our 3rd anniversary in October, actually. But our sole focus is shining a light on the stigma and the suffering that is occurring in rural areas like Chautauqua County for people who may be living with depression, schizophrenia, substance use disorder.
And you and I have talked about this now a couple times, and we've gone pretty deep on this. And I know that this all started with a personal tragedy in your family. And I don't have to guess. I know that this has touched the lives of probably at least half the people in Chautauqua County. And maybe it's rural related, but it's probably pretty darn close because we're such a rural community.
Yeah.
Whether it's opioid addiction or suicide or depression or whatever. And you know, it's so important, the work you all are doing. And you know, when we first met, I'm going like, okay, rural issues. And I thought about it for a while. And in all the years I've been working in the field of education and quasi-mental health, I've never really seen a focus on rural health, mental health before. And with Christina being here today, we're going to really delve into this, right?
Yes.
All right. So Christina, you're on deck. So good morning, and where are you from?
Well, good morning, and thank you for having me here.
Sure.
So I'm actually from Kennedy, New York. So it's just outside of Jamestown,
Right.
you know, 10, 15 minutes or so.
That's the Faulkner School District.
Well, it's actually, I'm like right between Faulkner and Frewsburg. So my kids went
You're right on the line.
I'm right on the line. My kids went to Frewsburg.
Okay.
So yeah, that's
So
where we're from.
62 out that way?
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
Yep, right on 62.
I know those areas. Like I told you before, I know this county inside out.
Yes, you do. I
Okay,
guess.
so, all right. So you're from Kennedy. You grew up there?
I actually grew up in Jamestown. Then we moved to Frewsburg.
Why?
Well, I guess my parents wanted, they wanted to live outside the city.
Okay,
outside
so you want to be in
Jamestown.
rural.
Yeah.
Do you have animals or anything?
Do I have animals? Well, I live, so that was where I lived when I was younger. Then I got married and moved to Kennedy, and we live on my husband's family farm.
Oh, what kind of farm?
Well, it's a beef cattle farm right now, but at the time it was a dairy farm.
How many head?
100, about 100.
Wait a
So
minute,
that-
100?
That was when it was a dairy.
Big animals, and you were milking 100 cows?
They were, and that was
pretty big.
years ago, though. Years ago.
Now?
And
so how many head do you have now?
Well, so now there's
Roughly, make up a number.
I mean, probably
Lie to
about
me, I don't care.
80.
That's still.
Yeah, so there's 80, beef cattle there now, and so we live on the farm, but mainly my husband's cousins run that part of it. We grow soybeans too.
Okay.
So there's that. As far as crops
Where's
go.
your closest neighbor? How far away?
Well, probably the closest neighbor would be my in-laws, and I like to describe it as a field away.
Okay.
Because that's what makes sense. So, we live across the street from cousins. We live down the street from cousins. My in-laws live next door. So everything's,
Kind of like a central nuclear family.
Yeah, about a field away. So that's.
But it's not like you touch the building right next door.
Oh,
You're
no.
all kind of spread out a bit.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where I'm going with this, is that people that live in the city forget that when you live in rural America, like where I live on the escarpment in Ripley. I have a neighbor.
Right. Yeah. No, our
And when they're not
neighbors-
there, there's nobody.
No, the neighbors aren't close, and I mean, this is a almost 500-acre farm that we live on.
That's significant.
Yeah, it's a big plot of land for sure. And so, 7 o'clock every night, I can hear the coyotes howling. So
So on a 500-acre farm, you can get lost in your thoughts easy,
I actually love that part of it. Yeah.
as long as you're healthy and strong and you feel good about
Well,
yourself.
I'm
But
not
it's also a
gonna-
place.
I'm not going to go out up on the hill at 7 o'clock.
But I mean, if you're somebody that's worried and has concerns about life, you can get lost on a 500-acre farm
yeah.
in your thoughts and feelings, and that's where I'm going with all this. Is
Gotcha.
that when you live in a city, you still can get lost in an apartment. I get it, but there's a few people around that might say, "Are you okay?" But if you're
Right.
on a 500-acre farm,
Right.
I
Yeah.
think you're a little bit more isolated.
Absolutely, yeah. And so, kind of leading into, mentioning isolation, that is a big part of, rural areas. We're isolated. So, although, where I am, we might be a field away from relatives or neighbors, some folks, are much farther away than that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so, I guess FarmNet is just New York State. There's no other, it's a unique organization. There's no other setup like it. And
When was it started?
so about 1986, I believe it was, yeah. And it was started by Cornell CALS, which is the College of Agriculture and Life Sciences, okay, in '86, and that was in response to the farm crisis in the '80s.
What was the farm crisis?
So land value went down.
Okay.
There was
No prices, everything.
droughts,
Yeah, I remember some of that.
different things like that. And so there was a lot of stress going on,
Oh, yeah.
obviously.
How are you going to pay the bills?
Well, for sure, and that was another part of it. There was a lot of debt. Farmers were having, they were involved with a lot of debt. And so the dean at the time, he created a task force. And so this is the dean of CALS. So he created this task force, and the task force decided that they would create a 800 number that farmers and ranchers could call in to get assistance, financial assistance. So that's how it started out, with financial concerns. Then shortly after that, they realized that they needed to add what they would call personal or family consultants. So they had financial consultants that would go right to the farms and help folks with different things, financially.
All right, hold on.
Yeah.
I'm trying to imagine now. Hi, I'm from Cornell, and I'm here to help you with your personal mental health issues to a dairy farmer.
So that didn't. So backing up just a tad. So farmers and ranchers, agricultural, businesses, they can call in to this 1-800 number and request financial help or mental health, help.
Yeah.
And so they are calling and inviting us to come to them.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You don't go to them; they call you in.
They call us on the 1-800 number, and that's how it started out, still running like that. And then we have the financial consultant and the family consultant that go together to the farms.
Gotcha. It goes hand in hand.
Yeah. Well, and that's what they found out when they started this, that because of, started FarmNet was because of all the, financial concerns. People are stressed when, those types of things are happening. And, kind of as an aside, farmers, a farmer, that's their culture, that's their entire life. It's not just, this is my job.
Right.
But this is everything.
It's a lifestyle. Yeah.
It's a lifestyle for sure. And so with that, if financially they're worried about, their debt or, crops, whatnot, a lot of stress and anxiety can present itself. And so this is why the family consultant and the financial consultant model work so well together.
Super. You know, and we were talking about, my background is education, and I
Yeah.
know that you have a connection to the school systems. And this is a trickle-down effect on kids.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
You know, and sometimes, you know, you got mom and dad sitting around the table worrying about finances. The kids know.
They do.
You know, tempers flare a little bit, or Christmas isn't quite as good as it was last year, or, you know, you're going to have to wait to go to college, or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So this is big, big deal. And so I don't know if you can quantify this, but how many people do you work with a year on an average, do you know?
Well, myself, it just depends because of our model. So we have the financial consultants and the personal consultants all throughout New York State.
Okay.
Okay. And when I'm assigned a case, it's usually in a neighboring county. So usually Chautauqua County, but a lot of times it's Cattaraugus County.
Absolutely. We're
Could
cousins.
could even be Erie County. I've traveled out to Erie County before.
Right.
So
Mental health has no borderline.
it doesn't.
Right.
No, it does not. And so FarmNet sees, probably has about 60 cases a month
60 cases. And this is New York State or just in this area?
in New York State.
But that's still quite a few
Yeah,
when you
yeah.
think about it.
Yeah, so that would be, you know, you were asking how to quantify it.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Yeah, they probably get about that many cases a month. you
And
know,
how,
in New
how
York
many
State.
how many families or farms are you dealing with at any given time?
My caseload right now, I probably have, and they're not all active, but
Yeah, it's okay.
I would probably have, I want to say about 18 right now, 15 to 18.
How many are there of you? Are you it?
Well, in this area, as far as family consultant, yes.
That's quite a large caseload.
It is pretty large. Like I said, you know, they're not all extremely active. It depends. You know, there's a lot of different things that, you know, a lot of moving parts. We have a few more financial consultants in this area than we do mental health consultants.
Sure.
And so when I say, you know, like a family consultant in terms of mental health, I'm a licensed clinical social worker. So FarmNet requires that their family consultants have that mental health, you know, professional degree. And so
So you're an MSW.
I am an MSW and I'm licensed.
That's big time.
It is. It took me a long time to
That's
get
big
there.
time. Congratulations. I know what that all means. Congratulations.
Yes, because you
Yeah.
were saying from the schools.
You're right.
And so FarmNet is my part-time job,
Mm-hmm.
and then full-time I work as a school social worker.
And what about your other full-time job on the farm?
Well, we live on the farm, but mainly my husband's
gotcha.
cousins
I
run
gotcha. I
it. But
gotcha. I
yeah,
gotcha.
and so you know, that's kind of how that works.
Okay, I have a
So-
question. I got a question.
Sure, sure.
all right? I like to ask questions. Never
That's
have many
fine.
answers, but I like to have questions. So you mentioned cattle
Yeah.
and soy. How about grapes?
Well, we don't have grapes there where we are because I don't.
But do you work with grape farmers?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So we work with all types of agribusiness farmers. So they could be grapes, they could be cattle, they could be trees,
Right.
they could be
Ag
plants.
is ag is ag.
Yeah. So
And, you
we
know, because the reason why I ask is, we got burned out quite badly. We were talking some of the
Yes.
statistics earlier along the lakeshore this spring, and you know the grape farmers really took a
They
pretty good
did,
hit.
and that's true. They did, and so you know that's part of you know what happens is, you know, farmers. This is their income that they're depending on, and then they're like, well, now what? You know, if it's you know, grapes or whatever. So so basically, how the model works is we get that call, we get assigned a case, we go together to visit the farm, you know, get a look at things. So people may want financial consulting in terms of maybe succession planning. We do a lot of that.
What do you mean by succession planning?
So, well, you know, maybe folks are getting to the age where they want to decide what's going to happen with my farm. Okay, am I going to? Is this going to go on to the family member if there's family members that are interested?
Yeah.
Or, you know, or am I going to sell this So they might be calling us to say, hey, I don't know, really what I want to
help
do.
me think this through,
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. What's a
'Cause,
plan?
a lot of people who are watching, they go to work, they work at a factory, they work
Right.
30 years,
Right.
have a nice life, here's your watch,
Right.
bye-bye. And with a farm, you just do a bye-bye, it's like, it's still here, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, again, that's your lifestyle. And so, however, sometimes what happens is maybe the family members that want to, take this over do not have the same ideals as, who the family member that they, is already owning the farm. So that's where my part comes in. So the financial consultant's going to work on, how can we best, help this estate planning, succession planning, financial planning, whatever. And then I'm going to work more with like communication type things, stress, anxiety with everything that's going on. And that's where I come in.
Okay. So I get what you're doing. I get what you're doing, but how did y'all get together?
Yeah, very
How's that
good
work?
question. So one thing I wanted to make sure that people understood is that this is a free service.
Yes.
And it's highly confidential, and that's why the consultants go to the farm, because all too often in rural areas, everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows what everyone drives, right? And so if a person is struggling, they don't necessarily, because of the stigma, want to have their pickup truck seen parked outside the local mental health facility, if there is one. Access is a huge issue, as we've discussed before. But I can speak firsthand about the importance of FarmNet, because my own farm is going through succession planning right now. And so not only am I working with FarmNet on a professional basis because of what I do through Rural Minds, but I'm benefiting from the counseling that I'm getting about what needs to happen in order to determine the next step for my own farm here in Mayville.
Is it hard?
It is hard because it's a multifaceted issue, as you said. It's more than just a job. It's more than just a place you live. And there's an emotional attachment.
Yes, for sure.
So that's
I
something.
get the emotional.
Yep. And I'm not a financial guy. And so having the financial consultants and the family consultants work with us has been a big plus. But we first got involved with FarmNet really soon after we were established 3 years ago. And growing up in New York and now living back on the farm again, I was aware of New York FarmNet, but I didn't really know a lot about them. But I knew they were providing a very valuable service here in the state. So over time, I got to know their offerings. I saw what good they were doing in New York. And subsequently, in full transparency, I was asked to be on the board of FarmNet, which I've really enjoyed. So I've gotten now an inside view of how the organization works. But even though Rural Minds is national in scope, we're based here in New York. We're based at my dairy farm here in Mayville. And so I do a lot of work in the state of New York. And it's helpful to have people like Christina who are licensed social workers, because I'm not a mental health professional. I'm a dairy farmer who has been in healthcare, but I don't have the credentials that someone like Christina has. So we're asked to speak at a lot of meetings. We were talking about that before we started this morning. And so I like to partner with someone like Christina or someone else on the FarmNet team in New York, so that when tough questions come up and someone has something that's really on their mind, they can get the help that they need real time from someone who does this for a living. And so we've been very fortunate in New York, and I wish this existed in other parts of the country. I'm heading out to Montana in a couple weeks to do a big meeting in front of 800-900 people.
What?
And yeah, it's the
Big
Montana Grain Growers Association. So it's all the wheat growers, soybean growers, corn growers in the state of Montana.
How many states have you been in now?
I don't know how many I've been in.
Or
since
spoke at or whatever?
I would say at least half of them, if not more.
Okay.
So we do a lot of in-person meetings. I'm going to North Carolina for a similar meeting in the not too distant future. But a lot of what we do is virtual, as you would imagine, too, because we're a small nonprofit that's 3 years old.
No jet.
And no jet. It's just me and my truck driving around.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, I'm not driving to Montana. I am flying there, but I just did a meeting of a few hundred people in Oswego on Sunday. That was done in conjunction with the New York Grange. So FarmNet has been an extremely valuable partner to us in New York, and I'm only hoping that over time other states adopt this program, because I've seen the benefit here in our own backyard.
So when you go to Montana, what are you going to talk about?
I'm basically going to talk about the growing issue we have in rural America. I mean, this is something that's a result of me speaking at the National Association of Wheat Growers meeting a few months ago. And the CEO of that group is a person with lived experience himself, who lost his brother to suicide, like I lost my nephew.
Right.
And so this is something that has become very important to him and the organization. And so I'm mainly going to be doing a lot of education, but then also making sure that people in the audience know that there is help. But as you can imagine, in a state like Montana, we think we're rural here in New York. But you get in Montana, the Dakotas.
I've been there.
Yeah,
I know.
You could drive for hours.
We'll go to Kansas.
To get.
I always say in Kansas you can get a bowling ball and roll it, and it doesn't stop till you get to Colorado or whatever the next state is.
It's very
just
true.
wide open. It's unreal.
And we've got a huge shortage of healthcare providers, period, in rural America. But the statistic that I just saw recently is that 65% of the counties that are considered rural in the United States have no psychiatrists. There is very little help in rural counties. And you know, we've talked about this previously. Telehealth, telemedicine has helped, certainly since COVID. We all became dependent on that. But the fact remains, in rural areas, including here in Chautauqua County, by the way, on my very road where my farm is, broadband isn't available in many cases. 30% of families have no broadband.
Here we are in 2024. And
that's right. So FarmNet plays a very valuable role for us here in New York, because we have people like Christina and her colleagues that we can call upon. A new program that we've just rolled out 2 weeks ago was in conjunction with the Veterinary College at Cornell University. Because, as we've discussed before, farmers and ranchers and people that make their living off the land have an escalating incidence of mental illness and are 65% more likely to die by suicide than other professions. Veterinarians, believe it or not, are right behind there, because they're so important in agricultural circles, including here in Chautauqua County. And they're the eyes and ears in many cases of rural communities. They are on the farm and see firsthand what's happening. If a farm that's normally very immaculate and taken care of is all of a sudden becoming in disarray, and the cattle that are normally very clean and well cared for are starting to look thin and starting to look dirty, they know something's happened. So this program, which is a free program, and you can find it on our website, ruralminds.org, and I'm certain it's on the FarmNet website too, is an online free course, which Cornell doesn't do a lot of free courses online, but this one is free, and it's available to everyone. The focus initially was for veterinary students, including the students at Cornell, but also veterinarians that are practicing, to help them understand what the signs and the symptoms are of their clients when they're out on the farm. And it's not just for large animal veterinarians, it's for people like us, Doc, that have dogs, that take our dogs in to the local vet. In many cases, because of that bond we have with our pet, people will open up to their veterinarian more than they will sometimes even their own family member, because this is so personal to them. So this is a new program that, again, is being done in conjunction with Rural Minds, Cornell, and FarmNet. And So I highly recommend everyone take this course. Again, it's free. It's an hour long, but it's done in modules. So if you don't have an hour to sit down and do it, you can do 15 minutes. It will then immediately pick back up. So those are just a couple examples of the work we do together, but we're extremely grateful to have FarmNet as our partner here in New York. We couldn't do our work in the state without the help of FarmNet.
You know, you surprised me with the statistic about veterinarians, and I'm sitting here and going, "Oh, wait a minute, let's think this through a little bit." So while you're talking, I'm always thinking, you know, in our house, you know, for the last 10 years, we watched the Dr. Pol show. You know, he's world famous. And I thought, well, you know, everything's rosy when you watch it. And I thought, no, it's not rosy. There's times where I sit there, I got to tell you, I well up.
Yep.
Because I go back to when I've had to put down my dogs.
Yep, that's exactly
And,
right.
you know, even right now as I think about it, I'm getting a little emotional because you have this connection with life, with animals, and then you think about the veterinarian who's the one that has to administer that. And I think about those moments on TV, I think about our own personal moments, and it's profound.
Yeah.
And if you do this day in and day out,
That's it.
wow.
And veterinarians go into the profession to help animals and to save them, not to euthanize them.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity just recently to speak before the American Association of Avian Practitioners. So they're the veterinarians in the United States that handle birds.
Right.
Chickens, geese, you name it. Well, as you know, we've got a huge problem in this country with avian influenza.
Oh, yeah.
And after I was done speaking, I had a number of veterinarians from across the country lined up to not only thank me for being there, but to tell me their story and what they're going through, because some of these poor people are euthanizing thousands of birds a week, and it's taking its toll on them.
3 years ago, did you think you'd be talking to veterinarians?
Not necessarily. No, this was something that, as you mentioned, is a result of a family tragedy we had.
Yeah.
And even though I worked in healthcare and I thought I knew something about mental health and suicide, until it hits your family,
Right.
it's not really personal.
But I'm watching our discussion. I mean, we started with your nephew and in your world, and then as you started to build your organization, now we're getting out and farther and farther.
Yeah.
And we're talking about veterinarians. It's
Yep.
like, we didn't talk about this last time or the time before.
No.
And so I'm thinking to myself, where else are we going with this? and I don't mean that in a comical way. I'm
Yep.
looking at that in a serious way, because I don't know what percentage of the United States is agricultural, but it's pretty big. And you know, this is a tough nut.
Well, and it's not even just the agricultural component. As I mentioned earlier, 46 million people live in what's considered rural America. That's 14% of our population.
Oh, there you go. That's the answer. 14%.
And even if people aren't involved in agriculture, in communities like Mayville, that does have a large agricultural component to it, the diners, the grocery store, the ripple effect in rural areas because of what's happening. So, and the other thing too is most people don't realize how diverse rural areas are. I think many people think, oh, it's just a bunch of white people, you know, a beautiful bucolic area. But we've got migrant workers, we have the indigenous communities, we have people of color, the black and brown communities working and living in rural America. Here in Chautauqua County, certainly we have the Amish.
Absolutely.
And so it's not a one-size-fits-all solution. And especially when I talk to urban and suburban people, they're really surprised that we have this tapestry of humanity in rural areas, that it's as diverse as it is.
Right, right. As I sit here, I'm thinking, in your work, Christina, with mental health now, is there a target group that you're seeing as a growing concern?
Well, so in terms of FarmNet, you know, and Jeff brought up a lot of, you know, valid points. The rate for suicide, you know, in farmers, ranchers, agribusiness, it's almost, you know, for males, it's almost double what it would normally, you know, what you would see. And so that's significant. And, you know, rural communities, there's a lot of obstacles to getting help for something like that.
Right.
You know, and yes, we have telemedicine, which is great, but that's not the only answer because, as you said, there's a lot of communities that don't have internet access.
Okay.
You know, there's still a stigma with reaching out. And so I'm glad that you brought up confidentiality because that is extremely important. So, and, you know, in rural communities, people know each other. So that is something that we're very, very cognizant and aware of is, you know, how we have to be, confidential with everything.
Okay, let's hold that thought.
Sure.
I have a phone call.
Okay.
Okay, good morning, caller.
Good morning. This is Linda Spalding.
Hi, Lynn.
And I want to say good morning and welcome to the people from Chautauqua Rural Mines. And is it Doug Winton?
Jeff.
Jeff Winton.
Is Jeff and Christina here today? Yep.
Yes, Jeff and Christina. I'm with the Chautauqua Mayville Lions Club, and we're doing a fundraiser to help benefit Chautauqua Rural Mines at our watch party.
You are? Well, tell me about it.
Yeah, well, it's coming up soon. We're planning a lot of things. We have
Randy.
It's called a cleat, but it's really a boot from the Buffalo Bills from Tyler Bass.
Tyler Bass, the kicker.
That's it.
I know who it is. All right, believe it or not, we have your poster right now on TV.
Oh, that's wonderful. And I think it's just terrific what you're doing, and I never realized until I read different things about your organization, the high suicide rate with veterinarians. They love animals so much, and they have to euthanize them.
Okay, so this is going to be Sunday, November 17th, 3:30 p.m. at the Mayville VFW, right on Route 394. How's that?
Right, the watch party.
So it's $15.
We're gonna have all kinds of
Go ahead.
kinds of great things going on, prizes and surprises.
There's a Josh Allen calendar?
Yeah.
Wow. Nice. In a hat?
And other bills.
And other stuff. Okay. And
Yeah, we're getting the life-size cutout of Josh Allen for people to have their pictures taken.
what? How cool is that? How cool is that? I did that with my brother one year for his birthday. I got a cutout of Paul McCartney. They're both bass players. So the proceeds
we're
are.
working. I'm working. Well, that would be great. A cutout of Paul McCartney. I love Paul McCartney. But I'm working on some other things too. So it should be quite an exciting event.
All right.
But thank you for your wonderful work.
Well, thank you, Linda. We appreciate this fundraiser,
So
certainly.
the proceeds are going where now?
To Chautauqua Rural Mines.
Okay, and
Into
to
the
the Lions
Lions
Club?
Club.
So
Yep.
together.
And some to the Lions Club.
So it's only $15, right? You're getting chicken wings, pizza, tailgating snacks, and you're going to watch the Bills game, right? And this November 17th. All right.
yeah.
Focus. What? Okay. Lynn, well, congratulations on another cool fundraiser for you guys. And wow, I didn't realize you
we
were
have a lot
connected
of
to this. Well, I might as well just
We-
leave. You all
and
can do the
I'm
show.
planning something else. I'm not going to tell you what it is because people think it's impossible, but I'm trying to do it.
Well, if I believe you can do it. All right. Well, will you keep us posted on that? Thanks, Lynn.
Okay. Have a wonderful weekend, and don't forget, if you haven't voted, vote.
I'm on it. Okay, Lynn.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a great weekend, and thank you again.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, that takes care of that.
Yeah. And coincidentally, the Bills are playing the Chiefs that day.
Oh, no.
And I will be at my farm in Kansas City.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, my gosh.
So-
That's the game. Oh, no wonder it
Yeah,
makes sense.
I'm hoping to get back for the fundraiser, but when they called us about doing this, I looked at the date and it's like, oh, that's right. So I have my Bills paraphernalia here and all my Chiefs stuff in Kansas City.
Well played. Well played. Wow. All right. So that is November 17th. Is that what I said?
The 17th.
Okay.
Yep.
Very
At
cool.
the VFW.
I'll tell you
at
what,
the
we're
Mayville
going to
VFW.
hang on to this. We'll announce it
Yep,
again
thank
next
you.
week for you guys.
Thank you.
All right, Christina, back to you.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit more about targeting
Okay.
as far as age group now. What are you seeing a prevalence in a certain age group that needs your help?
What I have been seeing mostly, a lot of my cases recently, have to deal with, this succession planning. So folks that are ready to retire, cannot work on the farm anymore, and, want to, know what to do with their farm. And a lot of times it is, that they have relatives that, younger folks that are wanting to take over the farm, okay? But there's that, and this is where I come in a lot, is helping them with the communication part, because, we've got some new ideas, over on with this generation, or, some
You don't
different
want to
things.
do that. That doesn't work. I tried that 25 years ago.
Yep, and then, that other generation that it's hard for them to give up control of how they did things, or what their dream was, or what their thoughts were for how this is going to go, and so there's a lot of work that I have to do, between those generations, a lot of times with, the communication piece. And so that seems to be right now, what a lot of my cases have been, and of course the financial person has a lot of,
Right.
work to do with that. So really it's both of those generations that we work with a lot, and a lot
I
of
want
that.
to throw the same question, Jeff,
Sure.
in a different way. So target group for mental health, age group. Anybody that is that age group? There's an age group that jumps out.
Well, we're right now getting ready to roll out a new program for young people.
Okay.
It's a peer-to-peer program, and FarmNet will certainly be involved in this as well. It's being launched at the National Grange meeting, which is being held in Bettendorf, Iowa, in November. And it's a program that we're doing in conjunction with 4-H, FFA, other rural-based organizations, because we know that mental illness is hitting young people disproportionately. The last statistic I saw said that in the last year, 1 out of every 5 high school students contemplated suicide, 20%. And Christina knows this because this
Yeah.
is her world. And it's even worse in rural America.
Sure.
Young people in rural America are 55% more likely to die by suicide than in suburban and urban areas. But we also know
Well,
that
it's the
young
number
people,
2 cause.
yep, and that young people will talk to other young people. So this program, this peer-to-peer program, is to help young people help their friends, and to be a sympathetic listener, and to know when there are signs and symptoms that are troubling.
Gotcha.
So more to come on that. We'd
All right.
love to come back and talk to you about that in some point.
Absolutely. Well, this is that point in time in the show where I tell you got a minute and a half left. So let's start with Christina, and then we'll go to Jeff. Christina, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, how do they get a hold of you?
So New York FarmNet has a website, and I think we had some slides that have the website listed on there between Rural Minds and FarmNet.
Okay, maybe we have it. I'm not sure if it's
The
there.
1-800 number
Okay, what
that
is
they
it?
can call. I don't have it memorized.
All right.
I'm sorry.
There it is.
There it is.
All right, so you go. So for Jeff, it's
Yep.
ruralminds, all one word.org.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then we have another site, perhaps. I don't know.
No, that's it.
No, that's
Yeah.
the one. All right, so
Yep.
if you go there, that's a good starting point.
Well, that's for Rural Minds, but
But
if you
yours
can
is
see
there too.
New York FarmNet on the
FarmNet.
bottom.
Oh,
All
yep.
they
I
have
didn't
to
have my
do is
glasses
go right there, to that website, and then the free phone number is on there. They reach out, somebody will answer, and then the cases get assigned, and you have 24 hours to make that call. Someone will get a hold of you, free and confidential,
Right.
for anyone in New York State.
All right, and obviously, if it's an emergency, call 911.
Oh, for sure. And also 988 is,
988. Okay.
right, that's the emergency line for help.
Okay.
Real easy to remember.
All right.
So,
All right,
yep.
and Jeff, you get the last word. You
Yeah,
got like
thank
10
you.
seconds.
No, we just appreciate being here. This is National Rural Health Month, so we're really focused on ensuring that people understand some of the obstacles that people in rural America are facing
Well,
right now.
I can't begin to tell you thank you so much for the work you all do. And we keep shining a light on a bigger and bigger piece of this. So thank you for coming down today, and good luck on the 17th, and go Bills. But I understand you're going undercover, so that's all right. Folks, I hope you learned something today. I always do with these folks, with Jeff Winton from Rural Minds and Christina Marsh from FarmNet. Be safe out there, and if you know somebody that needs some help, or you do, make the first step, make the call, go to the internet, make some contact, or check this TV show on YouTube for information over and over again. We're like a reference library. Have a safe weekend, stay warm, and we'll see you all next Saturday right here on XS Chautauqua Spectrum 1301. Take care now. Bye-bye.